Good morning. It's Holly Homer, and I am huddled around my coffee cup this morning because it's really, really cold. I live in Texas, and I know it's going to get up to 50 or 60 today. I get that, but like for us, that's chilly. You can see them against the windows here. But so before I get my kids up, which I'm going to do in just a minute, and I have no idea why I'm so yellow. That's so weird. But there has been a change on Facebook. I know it's shocking to everyone, which is a little brutal, if even to large pages. And I want to just commiserate with you a little bit because I think one of the things that's really challenging about running a Facebook page in 2016 is it's very isolating. And you're pretty much sure that you need to take everything that Facebook does personally. But I've said this 100 times. It's an algorithm. It is not actually out to get you. It is not like the high school mean girl. So, but let's put this a little bit in perspective because we all know that it is a challenging field out there to do anything with a Facebook page right now. And it just takes time and effort. In fact, before I started this video, I just calculated the hours I've spent on Facebook in the last year, 365 days, and it is over 1,000. And that's probably a generous estimate as far as time I've spent with my family. But that's over 3 hours a day that I've spent on Facebook, and I have 1.8 million fans. And yesterday, Facebook showed one of my posts to 3,000 people, which is not even like 1%. So I think we've all got to step back. And I have to do this to myself on a regular basis, especially when you're in the trenches of scheduling a page and, making sure every single post is the best possible post that could ever go out. And why wouldn't everyone on Facebook just, like and share? Is that this is a laboratory. Those of us who have had success, and you have had success, you just may not be giving yourself credit for that. But those of us who've had big success, that measurable success that other people have noticed, we literally use our Facebook page as a laboratory. And although I am not happy about that post yesterday that only got that reach, you better believe that today and all last night in my sleep and all day yesterday afternoon, as I saw that had happened, I am planning a plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E to figure out, and it's not even really a plan, but more of an experiment B, experiment C, experiment D, to figure out what was it about that very post that was so hideous that it wasn't even, valued to the point where it could be shared. So if your page is smaller, this is very, very difficult to gather that data, because instead of having 1.8 million people's reaction to play with, you may have a few hundred. And I run smaller pages. I get that. Like, I totally get that. In fact, we've been playing with one that has, I guess it has about 2,800 fans on it right now. And I paid for advertising to get the first 1,000 of those. And whenever you pay for advertising, you're going to pay for it down the road, double, triple, quadruple in lack of engagement. And so we have literally been posting 12, 15 times a day just at these people, just trying to get a response. What do you like? What do you like? What do you like? Do you like this? 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 And we've been doing it for months, but in the last few weeks, we've ramped it up and really, like consciously said, do you like this? Do you like this? And for the first 10 days or so, maybe even 2 weeks, it was really, oh, 20 people saw it. Oh, 2 people saw it. Oh, 30 people saw it. Oh, we shared it from a big page and 200 people saw it. So, like this just over and over and over again. Oh, well, if they 120 people saw that, well, let's go find 17 more of those. It is relentless, but you have to take a deep breath and not take it personally and not worry about some preconceived timeline. In fact, one of the suggestions in my early Facebook videos training is that you really want to sit back and just run your page like you would want your page run for 6 weeks before you even open those analytics. And I mean, if you want to take a peek at 3 weeks, like I'm okay with that. But one of the reasons why I say that is there is no way. I'm like the internet's mom. There is no way to run a page and not be discouraged on a minute-to-minute basis. Okay, so you are setting yourself up for a complete and utter breakdown if you're going to literally look at everything every day and take it personally, or not look at it in a sterile laboratory environment. And that's where I want you to cut those emotional ties and say, number one, feedback from Facebook can be very, very valuable. And sometimes it gives us feedback that we don't want to hear. And that might be what you're doing or what your idea may not go viral on Facebook. And that is okay. Like if you get that feedback early in this process, then that gives you the ability to say, okay, maybe this is a paid Facebook idea, or maybe I can tweak this in a way that makes it more shareable, or maybe I build a community around what my thoughts are. And then whenever I have something promotional, I put it out there, but then I put some money behind it. And that's another strategy that may work for those of you who are doing e-commerce or network marketing, or some of these other things where you're wanting to sell. Well, Facebook's very clear that if you want to sell on Facebook, they want you to pay for it. So the only way, the kind of a workaround that is to create an environment of your customers that is organic and is growing. That's where it gets difficult, because you may, I don't know, you may sell widgets. Well, these widgets may be really popular in northern India and South Texas. And so how do you create a community? I just turned colors again. How do you create a community that, that all these people can come and share your information in and that kind of stuff? So there's several things I need you to think about. Number one, if you haven't been doing it for a really, really long time, then it's really, really hard to say if the data you have is clear. And if you haven't posted the exact same post in different ways over time, giving a week or so in it, depending on how often you post, giving, maybe 50 posts in between as a tester, then I think it's really difficult to say, oh, that was it, or that was it. Because when you're only reaching 1, 2, 5% of your audience, it's not a clear picture of what 100% think. And I mean, think about it as polling, but it's not even scientific polling, because if someone's going out to poll for the presidential election, they're going to hopefully get a group of registered voters in a certain party, in a certain location that are, expressing interest to vote. And then they take that and then transcend it to the entire election. But you aren't getting to choose those registered voters who are likely to vote when you send out that Facebook post. Facebook's basically letting a few people who happen to be online at the time to see it and then choose the destiny of that post. So let's say you posted it in the middle of the night. Those 3 fans that saw that page in the middle of the night are very different than those 3 fans that would have seen that post at 7 o'clock after the kids went to bed, or that kind of thing. So what I'm saying is not really good news, but it's not bad news either. The good news is I want you to think strategy. I want you to implement that strategy. And then I want you to look at how that strategy worked over time. And not just a day and not just 2 days. And that's one of the things that I really, really want you to be, honest with yourself about. What is realistic for me to put into this test on Facebook with all the other things I have going on? So if you literally only have time to post 3 posts a day, that's where I want you to hang out. And I want you to schedule those out in advance. I want you to plan them out on a spreadsheet so that you can sit down on a Sunday afternoon and schedule out a whole week's worth. And then come back next Sunday and see how that did, and change that accordingly. I think if you are in the trenches of doing a million other things, you need to not be in the trenches of Facebook on a minute-to-minute basis until you find your normal. And once you can consistently say, oh, this post will be seen by 100 people. This post will be seen by 300 people. This post will be seen by 2 people. I better not post it. Until you get to that comfort level with your community, then I think you are just sending out, experiments. And don't take that personally, because a scientist can't take whether something, I don't know, erupts or catches on fire or melts. They can't take that personally. It is literally out of their control once they set it in motion. So I know it's not super good news, but on the other hand, you are doing a good job, and you are being thoughtful about this to a point of where it's going to drive you crazy. And I can say that from personal experience, that you've got to let it go to a certain extent. But that doesn't mean that we don't use it as a super interesting laboratory and send out little things. And once you hit that normal, then your ability to test things in your audience is so much easier. So, and you don't have to have 20,000 fans to have a normal, or to be able to say, hey, I know my community will really like this. I bet this hits 250 people today. And what that gives you is such good insight that you can take back to other parts. But don't let the frustration of those early days of finding that normal, or your experimental control group, don't let that derail all the good stuff you're doing somewhere else. This is your happy Facebook project, and your little experiment. And let's schedule it out. Let's set it and forget it for a week or 2. And then you're going to go back in and say, these people hate this. Let's do this. Or, hey, there's a glimmer of hope on these 3 posts. Let me find 3 more similar and post 9 times next week. So, and there will be algorithm changes. It is my feeling that there was one probably 2 days ago that was pretty significant. And We just have to push through. And that, I really feel like this, and I know you've heard me say this and other things, is it is the last blogger standing. Like, I feel like part of my success is I have persisted 9 years. Like, the internet could not rid themselves of Holly Homer. So I'm successful. So if you can get to a point where, Facebook cannot rid themselves of Holly Homer, so I'm successful. Pinterest cannot rid themselves of Holly Homer, so I'm successful. So if you can kind of think for the long game, which means we can't trip ourselves up in this first few yards of running a marathon, which I would totally never do. But the analogy is I would assume probably good, is that we can't worry about that first 100-yard dash. Oh, that's kind of brilliant. I'm sure someone else said that. Can't worry about that first 100-yard dash when we're running a marathon, because we've got to pace ourselves. Like, if you run, well, I don't even know that I could run a 100-yard dash at full speed. So, but let's just say I did make it to that 100 yards at full speed. There is no way I'm going to even get close to that first mile marker, let alone 26.2 miles. I'm impressing myself with my own knowledge here. So anyway, I think, in the end, I'm going to change my mind. I think it is good news because I want you to release the pressure you're putting on yourself to succeed at something that is impossible to succeed at overnight. Okay. So I'm going to go get my kids up. I'm going to finish my cup of coffee. And feel free to encourage each other in the comments below, because I don't think this is just a Facebook thing. I think this is a lot of things that we tackle. And I know I said it in a webinar yesterday for the Blogpreneur group, is that, or somebody did, and I'm going to claim it, is that as bloggers, we have to be good at a million things. So I need you to pace yourself again, because if you need to be good at a million things and you're only good at 2 of them right now, then let's maximize that effort in those 2 areas while we learn the other million. And don't let the fact that you don't know a million things derail you from the amazing, amazing stuff you do know, and exploit that, like roll with it. Like, I think that's one of the other area where when I have success, I beat it until it's dead, and then I beat it some more. And so that's where we need to concentrate. And that's when you can really and you need to give yourself a pat on the back and say, you have done something that the rest of the world did not do in their spare time. When you had a few minutes here and when you had a few minutes there, you used that to build something that is amazing, that is yours, that you're in 100% control of. And what a gift to you and your family. So don't let that gift be something you want to return or something that causes you or your family to want to, throw your computer out the window. So let's just take it one step at a time. Let's look at it. Let's step back with perspective, look at it in a clinical sense. And then the other thing is what you started this because it's fun. So do something today that is fun. Okay. I'm actually going to do something fun. I'm going to go meet 2 of my business partners for breakfast this morning. So, and that's another thing, is another part of this is the community. So reach out, especially if you're discouraged, reach out to a fellow blogger, somebody who understands what you're going through, and just say, hey, I'm having a hard day over this. And guess what? They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm having a terrible day too. And, and that's where, and I have several groups that I belong to where I literally posted yesterday, Facebook hates me so much today. And guess what? Everyone in the group was like, oh my gosh, Facebook hates me today too. So and you know what that does is it's a joke. to me, but it kind of makes me smile and like, I'm not alone in this world. So you are not alone. Don't let yourself be isolated. Go do something fun and step back and look at this with perspective. And that's me, the internet mom.